I was listening to a former Georgia Bulldog, one of them, the greatest, I guess, David Pollock. He's a big personality, makes a lot of comments, and I was watching some of his stuff. Going to share some of his comments with you. We'll talk about what David Pollock has to say about Georgia, and considering the fact that he is a supposedly reliable source. Aaron Murray also chipped in a little bit. We'll talk about what they said about Gunner Stockton. And you start reading between the lines, and you can't figure out why Georgia is in the shape they're in. They don't have elite receivers, haven't had one in a while that turned out to be elite. Haven't really even recruited one that was 5-star in a while. That's probably not going to get better. Gunner Stockton, they talk about how he's improved, and if he can improve even more, Georgia might have a good chance. But what if he doesn't improve? That's why Georgia players lately aren't getting better. They're not. So development is a big problem. Evaluation is a big problem. If you don't know how to evaluate talent, it doesn't matter how good of a recruiter you are, you're going to recruit the wrong guy. Is Georgia even trying to build an offense that'll work? It appears to me that Georgia's trying to do something that probably shouldn't be done and maybe can't be done, and that's to go back to old school football and trying to play football like they did in the days of General Neyland. They considered the offense a mechanism to run clock. That is not the way to play football in 2026. The 2022 team was a perfect template, excellent offense, great defense, and we have just thrown away that offense because we act like we can't do any better. We act like we have to have Gunner Stockton. It's like we're like some Division II team that just they found this guy and he's all they got, and they have to make it work. Something's wrong at Georgia with offense, and Kirby Smart is not an offensive guru, and he doesn't know how to pick an offensive coordinator. He's had more bad ones than good ones. But you have to learn from your mistakes, and you also have to learn from your success. Georgia hasn't learned from their success. And it comes down to, it becomes an institutional problem. Like, it's not even a X's and O's or Jimmy and Joe's problem at Georgia. They have a scheme. They have a scheme problem. They don't know what they want to do, or what they want to do. We don't know if it's going to work.
He was a year ago. Georgia has no chance to win a natty. They have no chance. What you're talking about, yes, you saw that in spurts. I saw him grow. I saw him put more touch on the football instead of trying to throw it through everybody's chest, which he has a tendency to do. It's all fastballs. Like, I like some changeups. Another thing I saw him change arm angles without taking a big windup and throw.
So David Pollock sees some improvement in Gunner Stockton. Not taking a windup, that's actually a big improvement. Wonder why that didn't happen the first day he was here. Georgia developing their players, especially on offense, it seems like that they really don't take a lot of effort to develop the individual position groups that well.
Which I really, really like, because the dude's got plenty of arm strength. To turn and flick it ain't no thing for him. So understanding that, but I think it's more personality driven with Gunner Stockton than anything. He's a kid that doesn't want to mess up. He's a kid that wants to be perfect. Those are hard things, man, because life ain't perfect. Quarterback dang sure ain't perfect. If Gunner Stockton's the same quarterback he was a year ago, Georgia has no chance to win a natty. They have no chance.
You see a lot of our receivers jumping to catch a ball. A big no-no. We see it all the time. But if we're going to succeed in today's era, we're going to have really good coaching. And these players are going to have to get better. But I'm not knocking the players. I think the real problem with Georgia is they have a faulty scheme, and maybe they know more than me. But, I mean, I've watched a lot of football, and I've watched a lot of teams lose games trying to slow it down, get conservative, and not be creative because they just want to eat the clock and get the game over with. Because you paid for the ticket already, they just want to go home and get the W. It very seldom works out that way. And we have that template. We saw what Todd Monken can do, and he's not some irreplaceable concept. There's a lot of coaches out there that could call a good game. You've got to have a vertical downfield passing game, and as David Pollock pointed out, he has trouble throwing over the middle. Georgia likes to have short quarterbacks, maybe because they're easier to get. I don't know. It comes down to they don't think about those things because they're not planning on using those things. And so until Georgia gets their scheme together, there's not much point to talk about it, except watch what happens this year. And if they can somehow, grind out some kind of offense, they may have a pretty good football team. We don't know if the defense is going to be that much better. We don't know if the pass pressure is going to actually show up. We didn't get a top edge rusher. We're trying to do it the old-fashioned way, and it probably won't work against great quarterbacks or even really good ones. But the dual threat quarterback is the kryptonite to Kirby Smart's defense. He's never figured out how to stop one of those guys, and we're going to have a whole schedule. We're going to have a whole schedule full of them, and that's just a natural fact. Who are the most improved teams in the SEC? I think Florida is going to be massively improved because they already have a base of talent, and I think they have some coaching hires that look good. I think their coaching staff will be actually good, and that's always been what all Florida's ever needed. So we all worried about Florida getting a good coach. They finally got Spurrier, then they got Meyer, and then they stopped getting good coaches. But maybe Summerall might be a break in that. Florida could be good. Auburn could be good. Missouri, Vanderbilt are going to probably be tough teams. LSU obviously going to be very good. And you can't overlook the elephant in the room in Texas A&M. Probably the team with the most resources in the SEC. Maybe Texas has a little more money, but at some point that's going to have to explode. Mike Elko isn't a bad coach. He's a pretty good coach, and he actually had a pretty good team last year. So if you want my idea of who actually might win the SEC, I got to think Texas A&M needs to be looked at. I think Texas A&M needs to be looked at.